speaking of that, I mean, because some of your posts or blogs or whatever you want to call them,
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're Twitters nowadays. I should.
I guess so.
You
Yeah.
called me. You called yourself technically incompetent, but I don't Twitter Jamie at all. But MLS, you said, should be exporting more Yanks. Well, Jonathan's an example of an exported Yank, and we should be doing as much as possible to export as many as we can, and that using that money that we can buy more players. And in the end, this helps MLS. Can you kind of maybe go more in depth and explain, your idea there?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think that you look at the valuable players that have been in MLS this year. They're almost all foreign. We've come to a point where Major League Soccer has realized that with as many teams as it's got, and with 2 more teams joining next year, there aren't enough Americans playing the game at the highest level. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this should surprise anyone, but I think that anybody that bought in at the beginning and said, well, this is going to be a league that's going to develop American talent, is probably saying to themselves, what the heck's going on? The truth of the matter is we still do not have a development base and enough financial reward for good players who are athletically inclined to choose soccer as a means to make a living. Mm-hmm. So what's going on is that we need a constant inflow of talent from places around us to make our league a competitive league. And, I hate to say this, but if you do not have competent players and a good product, people are not obviously going to watch it. Mm-hmm. And MLS, I think, has found that out. I mean, look, the TV ratings for MLS are poor. They're down 14% again this year. They're doing okay at the stadiums, but the truth of the matter is, if you're a fan of sports and you're a casual fan, the only way you get engaged in this very digital and wired age is through television. And, we as sports fans and specifically as soccer fans have to wake up to that reality.
Yeah.
So I think that if, MLS has some quality American players, the best thing for them, honestly, is to go abroad because it helps in 2 ways. One, it cements the legitimacy of the league as a developmental league, which frankly, there's a number of other leagues that do that. I think there's a little, I don't want to dissemble, but frankly, for a long time, I heard a lot of negative things from American soccer fans about, say, the Belgian league or the Dutch league or this and that or the French league. And, I think some people had the idea that, the American league is going to be above them. Well, the truth is you're not. You're still small potatoes in terms of the world. And you need to export talent to prove that you can actually have a quality league. And we have to admit at this point where we are, we're a second-tier league. Let's just be honest about it.
Sure.
And instead of making excuses for it or trying to cover that up, we should be embracing that and doing the best job that we can where we are right now.
Right.
The second thing is, if you have good American players that can go overseas, you are then exporting the idea of American talent. And again, that comes back positively to reinforce the idea of an American league. I do think we have some American players that can play, but I don't think we've had a number of American players that have consistently performed overseas as yet on the field for people to say, okay, Americans can play. I do think that, at the World Cup level, everybody says, the Americans are going to give you a game. Obviously they're in the top 20. They're going to give you a game. They're going to be very tough. But I don't see any club, any major club anyway, saying, I need to buy an American player because that player is going to be a very, very positive part of my team. Now, to be fair on that, I mean, I think the Mexican players, it's very unusual right now that you have Javier Hernandez, going over to Manchester United and making such an immediate impact.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela at Arsenal has not made an impact. So we have to know where we are. And I think, again, the whole point is we need to have a realistic view of where we are instead of getting kind of too high, you know what I mean, and saying, the American League's doing blah, 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 and getting too low and saying, the American League's not doing anything. The truth is in the middle.
Yeah.
And, again, I think it would help us, I would love to see a guy like Tim Ream, who I think is probably a consensus Rookie of the Year. I'd love to see him develop another year. I'd love to see him go overseas. get more training, and really be a success.
Right.
If that happened, it helps all of us.
See, now, I see it as both ways here. It seems to me that MLS is trying to keep the level of quality as far as American players by almost technically speaking blackballing certain star players that are in this league from going abroad to whether or not better quality or just European leagues in general, sort of like the Twellmans, Donovans, and even Cooper to an extent until he finally got the transfer. Still, I think that they should be exporting more players merely to at least say, hey, why don't you come to MLS? You can play a year or two, and then we'll be moving you on to something better. Yeah. We'll be getting the transfer money. It'll be a win-win solution for everyone. And especially with the academy system coming into play with the reserve league as well, I think that we're going to see more and more youth players stepping up. And I don't think that MLS might still be stingy, but I think they might end up being less stingy, knowing that they will have a ready supply of players to come in. Even I know we're going to talk about the college development system as well, but I mean even a lot of the college players are coming up and making an impact with their MLS clubs in their rookie years or second year. To an extent, they might not be all-star players by any means, but they're at least making an impact by some point. So I think it'll go both ways, but hopefully we do merge into more of an exporting league, not necessarily exporting everybody, but exporting it to make the money and then invest it back into the league and develop the game here.